You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. This is episode... That's an appropriate time to cough there, Greg. That was perfect.
Could you hear that?
I don't know if I could hear it, mate, but I saw it. Episode number 95, did I say that? Anyway, 95. And with me tonight is the coughing sensation. Greg, how are you doing?
Good, mate, good. How are you?
You're sounding really good tonight. And over there is Andrew. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm loving life.
It sounded so legitimate. You're so honest.
Minimal sarcasm.
Both you guys know why.
So in other positive news then, Greg, how's your couple of weeks been?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Chasing the foxes around again. Knocked a few over, which is always nice. And yeah, just a bit of time in the country with the family. So that was good. No guns, unfortunately. No hunting, but...
Yep. But you got away.
I did make out hunting, so I went for a bit of a walk with my backpack, so that was nice.
I bet you saw plenty of goats that you thought, wow,
I didn't actually. I sat in the campsite glassing the flinders, basically, where we were, and I didn't see any goats at all.
Didn't see anything in the flinders?
4 days.
Wow.
Didn't see a single one, but that's pretty close to Port Augusta, so to me it looked very accessible, so very easy to clean
hammered
up.
pretty well, yeah.
So
okay.
that was sad.
Sad. Yeah. We're going to see no goats. No goats at all.
No goats, no wild dogs, no sign. I didn't even see any fox sign.
Normally that just happens. You see them everywhere when you don't have the gun.
Yeah.
When you go looking for them, you don't see them.
Yeah. Went the other way for you.
Technically, I should have been overrun, shouldn't I?
You should have.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Andrew, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah,
Last
not
couple
bad.
of weeks.
Not bad.
You been out for a shoot at all?
No, again, but I did see a deer when I didn't have a gun.
Did you?
On the beach, actually, down...
You saw a deer on the beach?
Yeah, near Robe, of all places.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
what type of deer was it?
Red.
I thought you were going to say John.
Yeah, you don't
That
have
was
to
down
go.
paddock, yeah.
Don't have to go far inland there to be in prime.
Yeah.
Prime country
It
for
was,
deer.
it was ironic because I was pretty well in a rage because I got stuck on the beach with the incoming tide coming in my wife's car
Oh, dear.
and had to dig it out by hand while the children were telling me the waves are coming closer. So
And the deer didn't help?
no, I saw it and I kind of thought, oh, you got to be kidding. No, but there it is. But yeah, no, we got out just when I got out. The water was about 2 metres from the car.
No Benny Hill music playing in the background.
No, but so the children's constant reminders. Hey, Dad, the waves are coming.
Yeah, look.
Thanks.
They're touching the tyres now, Dad.
So that was fun. But no, and just a bit of work in the workshop and get myself ready on a rebarreled rifle shortly. And
Yep.
Nice.
Brilliant. Well, the reason Greg is sounding a little bit nicer is we've got a slight upgrade in the audio department. Greg, you're trying out a new microphone there.
Sure am, Rusty. Gives me a bit more of a sensual sound, doesn't it?
It's actually got a little screen on it to sort of do a little bit of audio dampening or acoustic dampening, and you actually remind me now because I can't see much below your nose or even half your nose. You look like Wilson from Home Improvement. So what I'm expecting is that all the things you say are absolute sage advice and the things that I will completely ignore.
Either that or Dickie Knee from Hey Ho Saturday, one or the other.
I'll get you a blue hat. Good. It'd be a good look. So massive thanks to our Patreon supporters because they've been enabling us to start to upgrade some of this gear. So that's the first of the 3 microphones that's had a tweak, and the others will follow. So Andrew, eventually will sound good as well.
I'll sound better. I won't sound good.
I wasn't going for great, so I was
High end bad.
Mid-end. Mid-end.
high fidelity rubbish.
That could be the new podcast catchcry.
I was going to say that might be the title of the episode, actually. Oh, good. So if you are listening and Greg sounds like he's got more of a golden, probably platinum voice now to match his credit card, that's let us know if Greg's voice has upped it a little bit, and if so, we'll get some more of those microphones.
So basically, if it just sounds a bit more expensive.
Yes. I just can't do John Laws. Sorry, fellas.
I'm disappointed. Do the oils ad.
I could do Kermit the Frog naturally.
That's just how it happens. Yeah, sweet. Well, I've had a couple of weeks. I think last time we caught up, I was about to drive to Melbourne the next morning, and
That's right.
which I did. And we drove over there and did the gun show over there. It's only a little gun show, the arms fair, but it was pretty good. Actually met a bunch of listeners, which was really good. I had a guy that was listening to the podcast on his way to the show and pulled his phone up and showed me he was partway through the tactical fisting rifle.
Yep.
The podcast, I should clarify. Yep, as opposed to the actual rifle. And it was good. Hung out with a few lads over there. Went to Northcote Rifle Club. Now, if anyone knows the details about Melbourne, Northcote is right in very urban area, like 5 to 10 minutes out of the city, if that. And there is a rifle club in there right next to the train station. It's a little 22 rifle club.
I was about to say, do they actually shoot rifles
yeah,
there?
They do. Yeah, they do. And a lot of people think it's just a collector's club or something, but they do actually shoot the rifles there, and it's only about 20 or 25 metres. But if you are anywhere near there, it was good fun. We went there, and I think I probably I played quoits more than I shot guns, but it was good to kind of go down there with Dave from Beretta and Ian as well at the club and go hang out with those guys. And it's one of those things, if you're in somewhere like that and there's a little club like that and it's only 5 minutes away, you might as well get involved because at least you're shooting. And those guys shoot several times a week, which does help. Yeah.
Keeping active.
We went ice skating as well, of all things.
Can you do a pirouette, Sam? Or?
I'm not even sure what that is.
It's one of those spinny things. Oh, never mind.
Is that like on your way down to falling over? Is that what it is?
Yeah, sideways on the ground. Yeah, not so much standing up.
Fair enough. Good. Don't mind a bit of ice skating, but not so good at it. There was a dude there who was in I thought of you, Andrew, actually, when I saw this guy.
Was he on the ground, like, in pain?
No. He could skate all right. Which is probably, that's the part I didn't really think of you. But he was wearing this, like, really tight, glittering, sequined jacket. Oh, Andrew would love this.
Straight out of the 80s. Did it have flares or what?
I didn't look that close, to be fair. I was blinded by the jacket. Gold sequence.
Yeah, well, you were there, I wasn't, so.
You're right. So I'm sorry I didn't take photos for you. I apologise now.
I got nothing. I'll think of something, but I got nothing at the moment.
Get back to me, mate. We'll edit it in later. Cool. And then after that, I did the Ballarat show, which was like a smaller one, but similar sort of style, and they're good. They seem reasonably good shows, particularly if you like old military gear. There was a cannon at that show, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Operational? I
believe so. Yeah, not while we were in the show. That would have probably put a hole in the gym's wall, but it was quite cool to see, and there was a bunch of other bits and pieces there. It's not hugely my scene, the collector's side of things, but I know a number of guys came along, a number of PRS shooters that I recognised were there, and they thoroughly enjoyed seeing bits and pieces from it. And so, kind of cool shows to go for $10 or whatever it was. Check out a bit of that sort of gear, and we had stuff obviously there for sale, which is what we were doing at the show. But I got to hang out with Andrew Stevens, who has been on this podcast before a couple of years ago or last year, and spent some time with him and the family, and it was good. So shout out to those guys for hooking me up with a bed to sleep in. It was wonderful to be able to get around the country and meet people like that.
I reckon I'd rather be at a gun show than digging a car out of a beach in the rain and cold.
Yeah, I mean, it was cold. Ballarat is cold.
Yeah, but there were guns there.
Yep,
and there wasn't the sea.
No, and there was one thing I was disappointed about. I didn't get to go to the Pancake Kitchen. I remember the Pancake Kitchen there from years ago, and it always used to be good. I don't even know if it's still there, but I didn't get a chance to get there. Next time I have to say that for it. If anyone is listening from Ballarat and you can recommend the Pancake Kitchen, please let me know if it's still there and if it's still good. Because, it's the important sort of information we need to put out there.
Well, I think I've got a mate that lives in Ballarat. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, check it out. Worthwhile.
Critical information.
That's what this podcast is all about.
Pancakes do help, though, Greg.
Yes.
Especially when you're shooting goats.
Yeah, I've been out with 5 or 6 guys that can't hunt without pancakes.
You're exactly right, mate. Can't hunt with them, can't hunt without them.
Very frustrating.
I reckon we might have covered that in a podcast.
No, we'll leave that one alone. We'll leave that one in the in history, I think.
And you've got a big hunt coming up soon,
Yes, we're heading off to myself and the Hunting HQ boys. We're heading off to the Victorian High Country. To have a bit of a romp in the mountains and hopefully get on to some samba.
Sensational.
So, looking forward to that. So we've all been madly buying stuff we're missing. We're all broke.
So what have you been picking up? What sort of bits
I needed
and
a better pack. So I'm ex-army, so I've just got all my ex-army crap, which is really just not up to standard.
Back in the 30s, they didn't really have the best gear.
Well, no frame in the pack, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I had to get a decent pack.
All made out of baby seal and such.
What's that?
It was all made out of baby seal skin.
Yeah, it probably was back in those days.
Back then?
Yeah. I've had to buy a pack. I've had to... The other problem of I don't have a 30 cal to meet the deer hunting, so I've had to borrow... have we talked about the fist? I think we've talked about the fist.
We did cover on it. Should we reveal what was said? Because we didn't... We bleeped it out in that episode, and
we'll let Greg reveal what he's taking with him.
It was what was said to you, Andrew, when someone shot that caliber.
Yes, it has a story, like anything that's been named, I suppose.
Well, probably the bit of background information was that it was used on a pig initially for its christening, and was one that was running directly away. So let your imagination run wild as to where the bullet hit, but it killed it rather quickly.
In its ear?
No.
Face?
Wrong end.
Oh, okay.
But no, the owner of the rifle, who I won't name on air, he made the comment that it was the anal warrior from the planet Fist.
Yep.
And it's affectionately been known as the Fist ever since. Is that
it's
right?
Actually, and this one, that was the rifle that he had. This one I'm going to be lending you is the same caliber, and it's got tactical fisting rifle engraved on it.
Which we did mention in that previous episode, because it was ended up being called that. But it was, I think it certainly raised some eyebrows. I did have some questions at that Melbourne Gun Show going, why is this episode called? I said, just listen to it. It might make sense.
375 WSM, it's definitely throwing fists around, that's for sure.
Yeah, do the job. So
absolutely.
You're pretty much running a 375 H&H in a short action detachable mag rifle.
Yeah, no, I'll hopefully in a few weeks I'll get it up just to check the data, and I'll be very interested to see what sort of energy it's throwing around. I know it's going to be a lot, but I've sort of got to see it with my own eyes to really appreciate it.
Oh, I think you will.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be left wanting.
Certainly your mate did, didn't he?
Very much so.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, so madly just started training because I am not young anymore.
Right.
And I'm in an office job, so that does not support
but
well-developed muscular
still be working
physique.
in your 90s. That's pretty good, man. You're doing well. So training sort
of
lasts...
I have to put the walking frame to one side occasionally, put the pack on and go up a hill. So, it's all prep work. We had a big meeting on where we're going to go. It's going to come down to the snow line.
I like how they use the term big meeting for a piss up.
So there's 5 of us drinking piss.
How many are you going? 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
At this 1, 2... Yeah, 5.
5.
2 of the guys are going to... Basically, there's a lot of huts throughout this region. They're going to stay at a hut.
Yep.
They're not as well set up as the 3 of us. Like, we're set up to go, like, fully remote backpacking.
Yep.
So we're going to head off from there and punch in to more secluded areas.
And what sort of town? Like, is there a major town you're starting at, or what's the closest big town?
Oh, it's sort of the Dargo region.
Dargo. So I think I might come with you, and I might just stop at
the Dargo
Sale
pub
or Dargo. Yeah, I'll stop at Dargo, and you guys keep on going in. But I'm still hunting with you.
Yeah.
Still, I'll be number 6, and I'll just keep ground base going.
We're pretty keen. We haven't really got a solid plan. We're out of money. We're unfit. But we're getting there.
What could possibly go wrong?
No, it's all coming together.
Magic.
Yeah.
Something else that has been on since our last recording session was the practical Rimfire Challenge at Tailem Bend. They had about 65 or 70 competitors, which is
Wow.
really good
That's
to see.
huge.
Yeah, so big competition, which is excellent. That's just Rimfire here in SA. So that went really well. The next one of those, I will get back to everyone on dates with them, but that's September sometime, and that's down at Mount Gambier. And the word on the street is that that's going to be a sensational match to get to in terms of just the range and the access and the ability of how they can run stages and what stages they can run down there. So that is, I think it's the second weekend on the Sunday of September. Dates to be advised because, didn't look at a calendar. The Rimfire Carnival up in Mildura is 28th, 29th of July. That's coming in close as well. So if you don't normally get to SA, or if you are in SA and normally shoot PRC, then get up there for that. That looks to be a good match as well. The next service rifle match is the 29th of July in Sydney. And Nightfall City Stroke Open is... I think it's booked up. Last time I checked, it was booked up, but that doesn't mean there might be 1 or 2 spaces available. So if you think about it, now is the time to jump on it. That's good. And the King of 2 Mile did wrap up, and obviously we thanked the winner. We congratulated the winner in our last episode, so we don't need to do that again. Yeah, he knows who he is. Well done. Did you guys see anything further from that, from King of 2 Mile? And the other stuff?
I had a little bit of a peruse of the equipment list.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But, nothing out of the ordinary, well, they didn't really expect. Fairly dominated by 375 cal rifles.
Yep.
Fairly heavily the Shytac, but a few other variants in there as well. So
yeah, sweet.
Yeah, it was interesting. Some of the small calibers on the list were, I don't really know why they bothered. They were down the bottom and 0 points.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I guess bigger is better.
Do they run a longer barrel in those setups, typically?
Yeah, some of them are running sort of 36-inch, 40-inch
righto.
barrels, that sort of thing.
Righto.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
They're a bit harder to manage recoil control-wise
Oh,
with
yeah,
those sort of calibers?
Yeah, they are, but a lot of those guns are 40-pound plus.
Yeah,
So,
righto. So truck axle.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got big brakes on them, and
Yeah.
generally speaking, they're big, heavy guns.
Yep.
I mean, they do just a lot of concussion and noise, but I guess when you're pushing 400 grains out at 3,000 feet a second.
Now that's a fist.
Yeah, I'd like to shoot something living with that.
Well, don't you want to rabbit at a mile? It's,
Yeah.
appropriate size.
I want to go further than that. But
So to back up what you just said, in fact, I'll throw it up on this screen here so you guys can see it as well. This is the Precision Rifle blog with what the pros use, not on PRS this time. This is from King of 2 Mile. So the 375 Shytac, that was 4 shooters, the 416 Barrett, there was 3 shooters, and then 375 Shytac Improved, 375 Libert, and 375 Warner all had 3 as well. And this is amongst the top 10. So all but 3 of them were running 375. Yeah, which sort of, is not a big surprise. Oh, hello, Simo.
Well, I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, the bigger you go with a projectile to maintain that same sort of ballistic coefficient and push it at the same sort of speeds, recoil gets up and up. So
Absolutely.
it's not surprising that the 375s are doing well.
So congratulations, as we said in the other episode, to Robert Brantley with Team Manners, who took the win out. He was running the 416 Barrett, and there's some really good. We'll link this in the show notes, but there's some really interesting information here about what the guys that they actually break it down per shooter to show you what exactly the shooters were using, where they came, and how it all went down. So that's quite interesting to see that. If you're not familiar with the King of 2 Mile competition, it's quite an interesting. What would you say? It's quite an interesting competition setup, I guess, where it's not, you haven't got huge amounts of rounds to get on targets, and basically if you miss the target in the given amount of rounds, then you don't progress to the next target, and so you've got to shoot consistently really well for a long time and in changing environments.
Yeah, I like it because I think it's sort of a more of a genuine challenge to be sort of consistent than putting a target out and firing 30 or 40 rounds at it, hitting and go, yeah, I hit it at some stupid distance. Being able to do it consistently and repeatedly is where this sort of King of 2 Miles really coming out. So I did see somewhere, I think it was a reference to the Applied Ballistics team using a prototype 375 Burger projectile. And I have been hearing this for years, and if somebody from Burger's listening, hurry up and make it.
I certainly have heard that
and send
previously.
a bunch of them over here. I have seen references to this projectile, and I do recall speaking to Brian Litz at SHOT Show some years ago about it. And at that stage, it was a little bit on the back burner, but
let's hope they do bring something forward. That would be good to see.
Hey, just remind me, was there some sort of King of 2 Miles similar in Australia, up in Queensland?
Not at
Not
this
really?
stage.
No.
No. I know there's some plans to do something along those lines at some point.
Yeah, okay.
But not there yet. Big congratulations, though, go out to Lockie from Mildura, who is the junior world champion of the 50 cal association.
Wow.
He was the young lad. If anyone was at the PRS in Mildura, we raised a bit of money and it went to him to be able to, sort of help with funding his trip over to the States. And, to, perhaps everyone's surprised who didn't know him well, he won. He was obviously a very good shot and kept his head together and kept his cool together, and he won. So congratulations to him for taking it all out. That's absolutely sensational.
Shouldn't have to do fundraisers in the future, hopefully.
No.
Hopefully he'll pick up a sponsor.
Well, I do believe that someone has offered to build him a gun for free over there.
Wow, nice.
So the next time he goes over there, he'll have his own gun set up. And he did win a Stiller Action, I do believe.
Yeah.
So I think it's based off that. And then,
Yeah, nice.
He will hopefully be well on his way. So we'll all be in trouble if he starts shooting PRS. Because he's young enough to move.
We'll just send him over to the US and he can compete over there.
Yeah, just leave him over there for a while. Yep, let him win all the comps over there. But no, sensational.
Just punch him in the arm at the start of a stage. It's all good.
He shoots a 50. I think he's used to it.
Yeah, true.
Some future news. I will be over in Perth for SHOT Expo in October. I think it's the weekend of the 13th. So if any of our Perth listeners are available, we might do something on the Friday night to go for some beers. So if you are in Perth and do want to drink beer or similar, let us know. We are drinking unnamed beers this evening because we haven't got any support for our beers tonight. Pirate Life will be back next episode, I'm sure. Speaking of supporters, Porter Machine Works, the scope rings have been actually walking out the door a little bit thanks to the special at Scoped Out. So if you jump over there, the Porter Machine Works rings, a new Australian ring company, or they're going to be doing a lot more than rings. But anyway, the new machining company in the gun industry, local out of New South Wales. You can get 10% off at scopedout.com.au by using the code PORTER when you pick up those rings, which will save you a little bit of money. And you guys had a look at those rings previously. They look pretty good.
Pretty good.
Just a couple of mil too small in diameter.
Yeah, I did mention this to Ian to say the rings were the wrong size for Andrew, but and he said, "Oh, look, pass my apologies on to Greg." I said, Andrew.
Greg's a financer.
Greg just pays the bills, mate. That's why you've seen his name before. So it's good. We are also giving away copies of Rodney Mays' Impact book. And I actually spoke with Rodney in the last week or so, and he said that he is actually selling a few books, which is wonderful that people jump on board and actually buy, quite a few books. So really good to see the support for that. We are, I think, going to do our audio book. Greg, a couple of episodes ago, you promised that we were all going to get together, and for our Patreon supporters, we were going to, over the course of a bottle of bourbon, read the book out.
Bottle of bourbon each.
Bottle of bourbon each. Read the book out. It's still going to happen?
I think it's possible.
I think it's
Probable.
Probable.
Should we wait to have the better microphones so it sounds even worse?
You may not want to damage the microphones.
God.
That should be good fun. I should probably check that with Rodney, make sure we're allowed to. Well, no.
Yeah, don't want to destroy the
the content of his books.
yeah.
Well, the joy is that guys will like listen to probably a third of it, and it'll be like, crisp and clear and good, and like, I'm into this book.
And then cut in.
And then the 2/3 of it they won't really understand.
Maybe we should just do like a paragraph, but the first sentence is pre-drinks. The second sentence is half a bottle, and the
So we're going to be reading full
and then
sentences
just cut
out.
it all in. It's just a paragraph.
No, I think as we go through the book, it just gets worse and degrades, which is no reflection on the book, by the way, I should say.
That's sort of how our podcasts go generally, isn't it?
No, they start out terrible and get worse.
No, it's a great book, and you better check with him. We don't want to butcher his great effort.
Oh, it'll be for Patreon supporters anyway. It should be good fun. I thought we'd take a reading from the Impact book from Rodney Mays. Oh, Greg's forgotten his glasses again.
Is this like a ballistic prayer?
Guide
Is there such
thy
a thing? Shall we
projectile-
make that up?
Guide thy projectile
A
true.
ballistic verse. Before the military conducts an operation, they try to gather as much intelligence as they can. You can do this do the same before a match. Some of these things you should try and find out. What distances the targets will be at, what types of positions you will be shooting from, if there are any special rules to be aware of, what equipment will be required, if there are types of equipment that are prohibited, how much ammunition is required, and what will the weather be like. Wise words.
Absolutely. There's a sample from our audiobook that we are intending to do. Yeah, anyway, good.
It's good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we'll chuck a link in the show notes as to where you can find that as well. We have a Patreon comment.
Do we?
Oh, yeah, it could be abusive. I'm expecting abusive. Tom said he can hear Greg's every breath. Microphone is on point. That just means...
Damn it.
Stop scratching yourself. Dave.
I was scratching my chest before I could hear my chest of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's because you've got a gorilla vest.
Yeah, I know.
I can bump up the noise gate on it, if that helps.
Does what?
Cheers for the comments, Tom. You've now made him completely paranoid.
Sorry,
He
buddy.
doesn't want to move.
I actually don't care, but I'm sorry. All right.
All right.
Yeah,
All
baby,
right.
yeah.
And
Okay.
you got the last voice out of all of us.
Shut up.
There we go.
Don't you mean the manliest voice?
No, I don't.
You should have.
Good. Now I've been thrown where we are. We just read out the book. So we'll have more wisdom from the Impact book from Rodney Mays in future episodes. And then if you want to hear the very average version with director's commentary.
Did he just call my version average?
No, the average
Oh.
version will be when you're drunk.
That's right. No, what you just read there was pure bliss. Pure bliss there,
Oh,
Greg.
okay, thank you.
Absolute pure
Shucks.
Chest
Yeah.
scratching bliss.
every breath. Good.
From now on, Greg has to wear full body spandex. He's going to cycle here.
So, gents, topic for this particular episode is night guns. I'm going to take a little break from the discussion of my new build because we're still getting some feedback on the action side of things, which is good. Actually, some interesting conversations with some guys who have let me know what they're thinking. Some people in the same position that I'm in, trying to make their decisions about which way to go. So I will sort of collate that and we'll share that on the next one. But for now, I'm going to probably talk about my other build as well as other night guns in general. So for those who are listening, perhaps not familiar with what we would reference as a night gun, we're talking about like a spotlighting rifle, varminting rig type setup. So whether it's used at night or during the day, it can be all sorts of options, commonly sort of 223, 22 to 50, 243s, but not limited to those either. Greg, what was your first sort of more dedicated, or what did you use for spotlighting originally back in the 1800s?
243.
Brown Bess.
Yeah, it was a muzzle loader.
Cannon.
No, I started with the 243.
Yep.
But I used it for everything. So it was a day and a night gun. Oh God, he's got his pinky out.
Got a little pinky out for the port. We're drinking port now, so.
But 243 for a lot of my younger years, through to sort of my about 30 years old. Then I had a little bit of a break, and then when I came back into it, I ran a 223 for a long time.
Yep.
Because
what guns? What were they?
The 243 was old school BSA. BSA Monarch. So that's like 80s vintage sort of stuff. And then the 223 was just a varmint Tikka T3. Yeah, and I used that for quite a while, mainly because I was shooting smaller properties for a long time, and I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot in a lot of undulating countryside on small acreages, and the 223 actually did a really, really good job. But I went back to 243 just so I could start. I was starting to reach out more, and 243 just chewed the 223 up in terms of ballistics. So. 400-metre shot was a tough shot with a 223, but an easy shot with a 243. So, not that you get too many sort of at that distance, but so I've done a lot of my shooting now with 243. I'm really happy with 87 grain VMAX. Mm-hmm. So that weight, that speed, I'm getting 3,200 feet per second. It's just a nice tight little rig. You wouldn't want to be keeping furs, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it's fairly explosive, fairly humane, I'll say. But yeah, that's mainly where I've been at, I guess, last sort of 20, 30 years.
Yep.
I've never used a 22-250, but I am very attracted by the ballistics of a 22-250.
Sure.
Yeah, nice and flat. And, it gives you margin for error and, with your ranging, but that's probably more a segue to your night guns, yeah?
Sure. I was going to ask Andrew.
Righto.
No, you're right. I think I started started in 22s, which was the commonplace, but I think quickly jumped to a 22-250, which is still my current gun, although be it through various incarnations of it. It's 22-250, and it has been a really sort of good setup, which I'm pretty happy sort of to move to, to stay with, I guess, the cartridge in what I want to do. I do intend to build something new, and so it started off life as a VSSF Remington 700. If you're familiar with those at all, they came in a HS precision stock, and they were sort of a varmint, Rem varmint profile barrel, and yeah, it was fine. It was second hand gun. It came with a Leopold VX3 on there, which I moved on fairly quickly. That's where my love of Leopolds came from, I think. Yep. And scratch that chest, Greg.
Actually, beard scratch. That's more appropriate, more manly.
I've got the longest beard.
Yeah, you need to be on this
Yeah,
mic.
you got gaps. I mean, missing gaps.
That's by choice.
So I've done tweaks and bits and pieces, changed stocks out, and it's onto its second barrel as well. And I've had all sorts of scopes on there. I've had that Leopold on there. Moved to a Night Force for a while, and then I think from there I ended up with the Zeiss Dyer range, and now I've got a Carla 624i sitting on there. So all have worked fine. Well, the second lot. The last three have worked fine.
Everything except the Leopold.
Yeah, pretty much. Weren't going for it, but the Zeiss Dyer range was sensational, as it had a rangefinder in it. I found that really useful on a night gun, and something I will consider again in future. I mean, I've still got that scope, so I may hold on to it, and it may end up back on there. Andrew, what have you gone through with your your night guns?
Similar, I guess, in that 22 was obviously, most people get a 22 first, but no, my first centerfire was a 6.284. It was in a very heavy gun, completely unsuited for the kind of shooting, but you got it, so you use it. But no, the cartridge was probably good for it. But
Yep.
I do recall one night chasing a fox around, and I told the farmer before we went out that he would need to stop if he sees a fox out in the paddock and I can shoot it. He proceeded to chase it and then yelling at me to shoot it, even though we're doing 60 k's an hour across a paddock chasing this thing.
Yeah.
And we chased it around and around and around until it literally just laid down. And I shot it once it laid down.
It's a real challenge for you then.
Yeah, well, I got on the second shot, but too close the first time. But no, that sort of convinced me. I thought, this rifle was fantastic for the daytime, longer shots, but not really suitable. So tried a few different things, standard stuff. I sort of settled on the 6x47 lap.
Yep.
Which I built before it was cool. Just putting that out there. But no, that's going to get a new barrel.
You saying you made it cool, Andrew?
Well, I implied it
heavily.
But no, that I like that cartridge. It's sort of pretty similar ballistics to the 243. The barrel that's on that gun now is a 12 twist, so I built it specifically to shoot the light bullets. I was running 68 grain burgers at about 3,700 feet a second.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
That's hiking.
Yeah, I am going to be replacing that barrel. I want to put a fast twist on there though.
Yep.
Probably won't be able to run down quite that light, but even if I run 87s flat out with a fast twist, they'll be even more explosive. So
they're great.
So and of course we can't forget the 22 338 Lapua that I built. That was a spectacular
Probably
failure.
the best gun you've ever built for a night gun. Yep.
Yeah, well, by best you mean worst.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that gun was even heavier than the 6mm that I had. Pretty much sort of equally unsuitable. But you were out with us that night. You christened it on game, and I still recall wanting to see a rabbit actually vaporise into nothing.
That was the goal, wasn't it? That was the plan, to send a rabbit.
I didn't want to leave a corpse. I didn't want to leave a corpse. I wanted to be gone.
No evidence, gone.
But no, I didn't really do anything more than a 223 or 250 would do. So
even less.
Yeah,
sort of
just kind of went straight through it. Really.
And then not much happened.
There's a big fireball out the muzzle when we fired it. It's like a 4-foot fireball.
Phenomenal from the firing end.
115 grains of powder behind a 40 grain bullet. It was good, but yeah. So that shell got shelled pretty quick, but no, probably settled on the 6mm. I think really. Mm-hmm. I'm about to fit a rebarrel a 300 Whisper into 223.
Right.
One of the reasons, the excuse I'm using is that when the kids are old enough to get into it, they'll be trained on that rifle, but more to the point, it's just something I can shoot cheaply.
I find 223 hit nice and hard. They're lovely energy transfer on foxes, inside 200. Beautiful.
That's the thing. Yeah, the majority of shots, you can shoot them longer if you want to, but, I've had them, with a Fox Pro out spotlighting and you get that caller going and they'll come running. I've had to yell at them to stop.
Yeah.
When they're coming in. So 223 is fine, really. So for where we are anyway.
I've been toying with the idea of a 223 just for the dollars wise, and I've got magazines for it, and I've got bits and pieces. But I think I'm still drawn back to a 22-50. I have considered a 243.
Yeah.
I've sort of considered it, but I haven't really.
It's 22-250. It is like, it's good. But what I don't like about them is they don't generally feed out of detachable magazines very well at all. I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that's made it work well, but out of an AI mag or something like that, I've seen a few where they've attempted it and it really doesn't work that well.
I've generally gone with floor plates previously, and that's worked great. And I actually quite like the floor plate to be able to drop it in from the top and be able to sort of top up as we go on the fly. But the 5-round mags, I think, feed quite well from 22-50. So I think that's probably the way that I'm going to go. And I've got to look into a little bit. That will determine a bit about what the action I run, because I do want to be able to drop it in from the side. So that's a factor to consider. I did get asked what chassis, and I think I did talk, or what stock. I did talk in the last episode about the plan was the Hauer Bravo was what I was going to drop in, which is what you're doing with your 2 to 3.
KRG Bravo.
Sorry?
KRG Bravo.
Yeah, what did I say?
You called it a Hauer Bravo.
Well, that's talking about the gun as well, isn't it? Yeah, if I'm going to go down that path.
That's a bit of retraction there.
Well, KRG Bravo. Well, no, Hauer Bravo is a model.
Yes, correct.
Yep, good. So I wasn't completely... This port is kicking in, that's why. Thanks to the port.
Hang on. There you go.
No, I said, yeah, that the 223 that I'm referring to is, well, I got the KRG Bravo in for it about a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressed. So I think it'll do the job quite well.
Mm.
Yeah, it's light and ergonomic, so
Just had
the job.
a message from one of our new patron supporters, Ian. Thanks for joining us, Ian. Ian has sort of said, I thought that the 22-250s were limited to smaller projectiles, which is quite a common understanding of 22-250s, and in factory setup, that is fairly true.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to build a rifle, you put whatever twist you want on it, though. That's
right.
You know, I've read of guys putting a 7 twist on a 250 and shooting 90 grain bullets out of them. So,
yeah, it comes down to what you're doing with it. So my first one was a 14 twist, and so anything over about 60 or 60 even was challenging, depending on the shape of the bullet. The one exception to that was the Sierra semi-points, if you know those ones at all, gents. But they were 63 grainer, but they were really short, fat and stubby, and they seemed to stabilise quite well out of even a 1 in 14. So it sort of gave you a good, compelling goat gun to run. But I sort of traditionally ran 50 grainers. When I rebarreled that gun, I put a 1 in 10 on there to open up my options so I could sort of play with it a bit more. And I put the same ammo down just to see how it went, and it shot 0.3 of a minute.
Lock it in.
I went, I'll just do that then.
Yes, thanks.
And I hadn't ever changed the load.
What MVs were you running then?
I couldn't even tell you. They'll be lost somewhere in some data.
Yeah,
I mean,
righto.
the thing with the night gun is I don't pay a huge amount of attention to that. So it is, get the data from it, know what the data is, and you're sort of staying within sort of 400 metres, so not really allowing for a lot of variation, and just go out there and smack boxes.
Laser beam.
Pretty much, which is why I'm sort of pretty drawn to the 22-250 again.
It's great, and it'll give that perspective of, when you got a range this half a head fox hanging over the top of a bush.
Yep.
You can't sometimes accurately range it within sort of 20 to 30 metres, and that's where the 22-250 really kicks in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've got all that error for margin. Margin for error.
You certainly scratch that chest again, Greg. That's...
I don't.
You just lost my train of thought.
Why is that? Why'd you lose your train of thought there? What happened?
There was some error of something in there, and then just scratching.
Thought of chain?
The error of margin.
No, but I think for me, if I was going to start from scratch, I would probably go for the 243 over the 250, from the fact that
controversial.
Yeah, well, I can run a 58 grain bullet out of the 243 and run it at over 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you 250 and raise you.
Yeah. So you can run a 58 grainer over 4,000 feet per second.
Yep. And you can't do that with a 22-250. No. Not unless you've got a 45-inch barrel.
Well, funny, we hadn't talked about barrels yet. That was one of my No, you're right. I wasn't planning on running a 45-inch barrel. Correct.
Coward.
Would you be chasing 4,000 purely based on how flat they would be shooting?
Well, I'm just saying that was possible. That's not what I would do.
Yeah, whether you need to.
I was going to say, what's your motivation behind it?
No, I'd probably run something heavier. I maybe wouldn't go to the 87s, depending on what was around, what I was actually going to be shooting.
Mm-hmm.
There were goats or pigs or whatever. I'd probably go a little heavier, but I'd run probably a 70 to 75.
Okay.
And run it pretty hot.
Yep.
Gives you the sort of, that if you're running a 75 grain bullet at, 3,800-ish,
mm-hmm.
maybe. that'd move.
Oh, yeah.
The thought crosses the mind, gents, that if I'm going to be building a 6.5 Creedmoor for my comp gun, is it worth building this as a 6.5 Creedmoor as well to keep, brass and equipment and bits and pieces the same? Is there any merit to that thought?
I think there's merit to understanding a calibre inside and out, day and night.
Good point.
Regardless of what it is. I think if you know it like the back of your hand, you're not going to make too many errors.
So given then that I'm probably actually going to be running different projectiles and different setups, it's really going to be a separate...
Then you're confusing yourself. Go with the 243.
Right.
Yeah, 6 mil. You know you want it.
I'm 6 curious. Let's put it that way.
No, I mean...
I've never ventured down this path, and it seems to be very much a one-way street. Oh, I've thrown Andrew now. He doesn't know what to say to that.
I can't say anything that's not going to be edited out.
Greg, that's all we can do.
I'm not saying anything. No.
All right, so in terms of going to 243, and particularly 243 or something along those lines, is that
6 mil Creed?
6 mil Creed. Oh, boom, headshot. Right,
Boom.
That's convincing. Boom, boom.
It was a Creedmoor.
Yeah, gotcha.
Creedmoors don't kill things though. That's the trouble.
Have we got some science to back that up?
Plenty.
All right, let's go back to
It'll
the
be in the show notes.
It's just Andrew going, yeah, pretty much for now. So, going back to a 22 to 50, 243, because I suspect that this may come up, because I know you both, well, particularly Greg's obviously always been sort of 243 engaged, and Andrew's not opposed to it at all. And I've never really gone down that path with it. And I've been thinking, do I bump up? Is it worth bumping up to a 243? Is it really the additional velocity I'm going to be getting?
Depends what you're doing too,
Yeah, I'm going to be smacking foxes, the same stuff I've been doing for years.
Yeah. It just depends. Like, I know with me, I go, and fallow deer.
Fallow deer.
Yeah, it to me it gives you that bit of extra versatility.
And
I mean, if you want to run
goats, and so you can just go on.
But I've shot goats with 22 to 50s.
Yeah, you can.
They die better with a heavier bullet, though.
And they die better at distance with a heavier bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't shot them at distance.
But I guess, keeping with the topic of conversation, night gun.
Why would we do that?
Why would
it's been 95
not,
ever well, we start now.
Why would we not tangent?
True.
Sorry, Andrew, please continue.
We're ruining you tonight.
You are. Scumbags. Point is, how often do you see 1,000-yard goats at night, Greg?
All the time.
All the time. No, I don't.
No, very cool.
More just energy into a chest cavity. But yeah, goats not so much. But yeah, definitely fallow. I shoot them at night.
Yeah, look, I mean, I would say the advantages of being able to run a heavier bullet. Say you're going to New South Wales and you're going spotlighting in pig country.
Yep.
Not necessarily specifically targeting them when you're spotlighting, but I shot heaps of pigs under a spotlight. And I guarantee you I'd rather have an 80-plus grain bullet than a 50-grain bullet.
That's fair.
Because, and having said that, I'd probably rather a 270 to 300-grain bullet in that situation. But
something from the planet Fist, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I just thought of a really inappropriate joke. But no.
We'll beep it out just for the Patreon.
Really bad. I've forgotten already.
That's a lie.
Yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Good. It's been a show like that, hasn't it? Excellent. So, 243 path. Is that the way I should be going? I'm stepping up from the 250.
Yes.
Yeah, I reckon you should.
All right. Well, by popular demand, I'll give it a crack.
I call it peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
It just depends what sort of MV you want to chase in that 6 mil too, you know.
Well,
there's a bit of a decision there, you know.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go the lighter, like a 75 grain or something along those lines, but being able to punch it out. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to kill through wind and not be so fussed about drop. That'll line up with what I do. In fact, thinking about it a little bit more now, that die range scope was always challenging because there's no marks on the reticle. There's a part where it's duplex. So it goes from thin to thick at one point, but it doesn't give you much more than that.
Mm.
Now, I wonder if running a 243, I would get away with running that scope if I'm running like a 65 or 75 grainer lighter as a dedicated setup.
As a night gun, yeah, it would work well. I think it'd
Two
speed
to
up
300 metres.
It'd speed up your engagements with basic drops in your head.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking sort of 300 being the outer limit for generally speaking,
Generally, yep.
if you're running a 55 or a 58 at 4,000 plus,
Yep.
at those ranges,
Not really dropping.
No, you just
Not
point,
a lot to remember.
point and shoot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Works well for people with really good memories like me.
Yep. Yep. No, fair call. All right. Well, it seems I'm convinced. We're going to go down the 243 path. Give it a crack.
Yeah, give it a run.
Mm.
There's some good projectile options now too with 6mm.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I should look into that.
No, you should look at that.
Check it out.
No, it's like compared to
Yeah, there
a
is.
while back, it's 6, as we all know, 6 and 6.5's come a long way.
Yeah, well and truly.
So, yeah.
But even sort of the good quality bullets as well. I mean, I know guys that shoot 6mm and they run literally bench rest bullets. Bullets that are designed for short range bench rest, 65, 68 grainers.
Mm.
Well, which is
Thread
exactly
the
what I'm
needle.
doing out of the 6x47.
Mm.
Shoot very, very accurately and
Pick an eyeball.
explosive. They're not designed to be explosive, but they are.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting offers from Nosler and Hornady in some of those lighter weights. What was that? We're using traditional port glasses, which have like this little glass straw coming up from the bottom of the glass.
Like a teapot almost.
Sort of like a teapot with a sort of elongate. I'll put a photo up on Patreon for the guys to have a look at, but we'll get one up on Facebook so you guys can see what these teapot things are. And this is a traditional way you should be drinking port, otherwise you're not really drinking it. And that noise that you just heard was Greg struggling with drinking.
That was,
Is all I
I've
can
drained
do.
it, man.
You've drained it.
It was all air.
You're out.
I'm
All
out.
air. See if I can do that as well.
There we go.
Oh, very good. So that's I guess that's my plan with my gun is now a 243. I mentioned Hauer Bravo because I was considering the Hauer in the Bravo chassis. Otherwise, it's probably a Tikka. It's probably the other one I'll be looking at. Any suggestions, guys? I mean, I know which way Greg's going.
Yeah, well, I'm a Tikka fanboy, the out-of-the-box solution. I don't think you have much trouble getting a load developed with a standard Tikka out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can do more to it after that, but,
Generally speaking, the guys that are shooting the Howers are pretty happy with them too. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't think you're going to lose out there.
Yep.
Especially
the sort of typical ranges we're talking about.
I don't think, even it'll probably come down to, if you're looking at a factory gun rather than building something, you can't even pour straight, can you?
No, I can't pour port.
The availability or the selection of what barrel twists they offer. I don't know what Tikka offer in that chambering. I don't know what Hauer offer in that chambering, but you'd want to go something that was going to do what you wanted it to do.
I think with Tikka, I'm not sure of the twist, but I remember looking into it and it was, 87's about as heavy as you can go.
Okay, so it might be a...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway.
I'm not chasing heavy. I'm chasing lighter in this gun.
Yeah.
And it won't be a crossover gun for me. We talked plenty of times about something different. So that's the plan. The one thing that I don't like about the Tikka is top loading it. It's not so simple to top load, whereas the Hauer does open that up a little bit.
T3X?
No, just the fact of loading the mags. I think if you've got a detachable mag, I'm not sure you have to get the round for it sort of too far forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seiko.
Seiko.
85s, you can top load them.
I have to borrow some money off Greg, but I guess that's potential. Do they do a Bravo that the Seiko will drop into? Don't think they do.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe. I don't
Well,
know.
it's interesting because I'd have to look into it, but the Accuracy International AEW magazines, they made a top load.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a setup that could utilise them, you might be right.
Okay, check it out.
That's what I'm going to be doing with my 6mm.
Oh, the strings are pulling the other way. Sean on Patreon has just said he ran a 100-grain ballistic tip in a 6.5 Creedmoor hunting rifle built 5 years ago. It's been the best all-round rifle for pigs, foxes, deer. He went with a lighter profile barrel, so he can still walk about with it. More, lay the smack down. Drop that, Mike.
Yeah, walk off.
Nah.
Good scientific response there, Andrew.
To quote Sean Milner.
Nah.
Okay, all right. Well, I think sorry, Sean. I mean, like the idea. Great to have you on board on Patreon, and I'm not opposed to that, but I actually do see some point here that the reason I was thinking about the 6.5 Creedmoor for both the competition gun and for spotlighting was being sort of keeping some stuff the same, but given that
Completely
data
different.
is going to be completely different, then it's really not worthwhile. Sort of, there's no benefit to going down the same path